The Dyatlov Pass Incident. 8 experienced hikers entered the Ural Mountains during the winter of 1959. None of them ever returned. Weeks later, rescuers found their tent ripped open from the inside. Their footprints led away into the freezing darkness. Some were found barefoot. Others were wearing only underwear. One victim was missing her tongue. Another had suffered injuries so severe they resembled those of a high-speed car crash. Yet, there were no signs of another person. More than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in history. Before we begin, subscribe to Dark Archive for more unsolved mysteries, disappearances, and dark cases from around the world. Now let's open the file. In January of 1959, 10 experienced hikers set out on an ambitious expedition through the northern Ural Mountains in what was then the Soviet Union. Their leader was Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student known for his experience in harsh winter conditions. The journey was classified as a Category 3 expedition, the highest level of hiking difficulty in the Soviet Union. Every member of the group was highly trained. They knew how to survive extreme cold. They had completed similar expeditions before. This was not a group of amateurs. Shortly after the journey began, one member became ill and returned home. That decision likely saved his life. The remaining 9 hikers continued toward Ural Mountain. The weather quickly became worse. Strong winds reduced visibility. Heavy snow covered the landscape. On February 1st, instead of reaching their intended destination, the group stopped on the eastern slope of Kolat Shakal. The name translates to Dead Mountain. They pitched their tent directly on the exposed mountainside. It was an unusual decision. Most experienced hikers would have descended into the forest for protection from the wind. But for reasons still debated today, they remained on the open slope. That night, something happened. Something terrifying enough to force all 9 hikers to flee into the freezing darkness, without boots, without proper clothing, without supplies, without even taking the time to open the tent normally. When rescue teams finally reached the campsite weeks later, they made a disturbing discovery. The tent had been sliced open from the inside. Food remained untouched. Personal belongings were still neatly arranged. Warm clothing was left behind. It appeared the group had left in a matter of seconds. Investigators followed footprints leading downhill toward a nearby forest. The prints suggested the hikers had walked rather than run, yet many were barefoot. Others wore only socks. Temperatures that night were estimated to be below -30 degrees Celsius. The first 2 bodies were discovered beneath a large cedar tree. They wore almost no clothing. Nearby, investigators found the remains of a small fire. It appeared they had desperately tried to stay warm. Between the tree and the abandoned tent, 3 more bodies were found. They seemed to be attempting to return to camp before collapsing from the cold. Months later, after the snow melted, rescuers found the remaining 4 hikers inside a nearby ravine. Their injuries shocked investigators. Several had massive chest fractures. One woman had severe damage to her skull. Another victim was missing her tongue. Curiously, there were very few external wounds. It was as though enormous force had been applied without breaking the skin. Experts compared the injuries to those caused by a powerful car crash. Yet there was no vehicle, no avalanche debris, no evidence of an attack. Another strange detail emerged during the investigation. Some clothing recovered from the victims showed elevated levels of radiation. Although not enough to be immediately dangerous, the discovery fueled decades of speculation. The Soviet investigation eventually concluded that the hikers had died due to what officials described as an unknown compelling force. No further explanation was provided. The case was closed. But the mystery had only begun. Over the years, countless theories have attempted to explain what happened. The first and most accepted theory is an avalanche. Supporters believe shifting snow may have threatened the campsite. Fearing immediate danger, the hikers cut their way out of the tent and fled. Later, unable to survive the freezing temperatures, they perished. In 2021, researchers used modern computer simulations to suggest that a small slab avalanche could explain many aspects of the case. However, critics argue there was little evidence of avalanche activity at the site. The slope itself was relatively gentle, and the tent remained largely intact. Another theory involves military activity. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union frequently tested secret weapons. Some believe the hikers accidentally entered a restricted area and witnessed classified experiments. Reports of mysterious orange lights in the sky around the same time only strengthened these suspicions. Yet no official evidence has ever confirmed military involvement. Others believe powerful winds created a phenomenon known as infrasound. Low-frequency vibrations can trigger intense feelings of panic, confusion, and irrational behavior. Could the hikers have experienced sudden psychological distress? Some scientists believe it is possible. Still, there is no direct proof. Then there are the more extraordinary theories. Some suggest the hikers encountered a creature similar to the legendary Yeti. Others believe extraterrestrial visitors were responsible. Paranormal explanations continue to circulate online decades after the tragedy, but investigators have never found evidence supporting these claims. Even today, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of history's most fascinating mysteries. 9 experienced hikers, 1 isolated mountain, a tent cut open from the inside, and a night that no one survived to explain. Were they fleeing an avalanche, a secret military operation, a natural phenomenon, or something that has yet to be understood? Perhaps the answer disappeared beneath the snow forever. This has been Dark Archive. If you enjoyed this investigation, subscribe and turn on notifications for more unsolved mysteries, cold cases, and dark stories from around the world. Until next time, keep searching for the truth.